Welcome to Brohelio, a space where we explore and discuss complex and often difficult topics. Before we begin, we want to acknowledge that today's discussion may cover traumatic events and include language and topics that could be triggering for some. Please be advised that we are not healthcare professionals, psychologists, or legal advisors. The content shared in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only, and should not be considered as professional advice. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or in need of support, we strongly encourage you to seek help from a qualified professional. In case of an emergency, please do not hesitate to contact emergency services immediately. Our goal is to foster understanding and awareness while respecting the sensitivity of the subjects discussed. Listener discretion is advised. Thank you for joining us, and let's approach today's topic with empathy and openness.
Intimidation?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So, what types of intimidation are there?
Oh,
You can be intimidated by a task. You could be intimidated by a person.
an
Someone.
event,
Mm-hmm. An event. Oh
a
yeah.
place.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, place.
Oh, this is going to sound terrible.
Oh.
It's all right. There we go.
Okay. So yeah, what do you get intimidated by more? Is it people, places, events?
I think events for me, like,
Mm.
let's say if something happens at work, and for me, it's
Yeah.
like things break at work and then I have to fix it. And sometimes I get intimidated by the scope of that event.
Oh, because the problem is such a big fix. There's like a lot
Yeah.
to it.
And it's not necessarily, let's say, a big fix, but it
Mm-hmm.
gets sweaty when it's in the middle of the day
Mm-hmm.
and a critical portion of work breaks
Mm-hmm.
because then people can't do their job.
True.
And so that is definitely intimidating, or can be intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is that intimidating or it's like anxiety provoking?
well, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying it can't be intimidating because it's sure, any task you just kind of like look at it and it's just like instant. Like how would you even define what do you mean by like intimidating?
Well, let's see. I mean, it involves some sort of a fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a revulsion of wanting to do it, or I'll say maybe
I would
a
think
lack of doing.
I think intimidation more means like you feel almost belittled by it, or it makes you feel like
Belittled.
yeah. Because if somebody's intimidating you, do you feel in control, or do you feel kind of like smaller, like you're?
Mm.
Because usually when you see like physical intimidation, it's very much you know a feeling of being small compared to somebody being large.
I don't think that I get intimidated a lot.
Okay, that's fair.
I think it's just a part of a good thing about me is that I
Mm-hmm.
don't get intimidated because I'm like willing to take on any challenge, or when it comes to people, I'm willing to fight anyone. Um,
Okay.
so it's like, and I've fought big people before, little
Mm-hmm.
people. The little dudes are the ones that are scrappy. They're the ones that you gotta, feel like, be
That's
more
my
concerned of, unless you get hit by a big dude. So
well.
like in the army, I think that got a lot of the intimidation out
Mm,
for people. But I do think that, so the belittled, I feel, let's say I feel little.
mm-hmm.
I've recently felt little in Disney World. Um,
Yeah, that can be. I could say that be an intimidating place just because it's so massive and there's
so much
so
going on,
many people
so
there.
many people.
You just feel like you're just like one little mouse.
Yeah,
Like, whoa! You're just squeezing through stuff.
yeah.
And yeah, no, I could see how, especially a place like that, is intimidating
Yeah.
because, and especially when you're not like the kid there,
Yeah.
because your parent, you're like you're in charge in that sea of chaos instead of just being along for the ride.
Yeah.
That would be an intimidating spot to be in for sure.
But I don't know if that's a very good use of the term. Why don't you talk about some of the things that you're intimidated about, or how
Um,
you interact with intimidation?
I mean, I don't know. I find maybe like certain aspects of like dating intimidating.
Hmm.
You know, like the going up to there, you're like, I'm worth this. I gotta go up and
Yeah.
I gotta go up and show this. And so I find those things intimidating, probably because self worth issues and things from when I was a kid, still playing out now. But as for people in general, it's not a whole lot of people I'd be intimidated by.
Yeah.
I mean, if some big dude's gonna come at me, I'm not necessarily like
I'm sure, like, if Dwayne
intimidate.
Johnson was like flexing at me, I'd be like, "Yo, just chill."
I don't know. Even I wouldn't be intimidated. I would just be like, I know I'm gonna get wrecked here,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna like. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna attempt anything. But it's not like like a feeling of like making you feel small. It's just like I know what I am. I
Yeah.
know what he is. And I know he kicked the shit out of me if I give him
Yeah.
an inch. So
Right.
I'm rightfully
Yeah.
going. So I don't know if that's necessarily intimidation rather than self-preservation.
Yeah. Fair.
Whereas
Yeah.
like almost like their bark is worse than their bite kind of thing when somebody intimidates you,
Yeah.
but there's really no reason to be
Yeah.
intimidated.
I've been intimidated before in the past, like bully situations, just mean people.
Oh, when I was a kid, for sure,
Yeah.
I got bullied. I
Yeah.
people, said would pick on me all the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
then I got older and I just stopped caring as much.
Yeah. I think that's it. You stop caring,
Hmm.
or you get good at insulting people.
That is true. I never really got terribly good at it. I get it like occasionally good by accident.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
you say something and you're like, oh,
That's it's best not to descend to that level where you're trying to banter in a bully situation.
no.
You don't poke the bear.
Yeah, just walk away. But
It's not worth it.
so you said places kind of like Disney, like the whole like
Yeah.
that idea is just
I find
it
also travel. I don't like to travel. I think that's kind of a little intimidating for me. I feel little.
mhm.
It's like at those crowd situations,
Mhm.
or maybe it's just something that I'm adverse to. I like arriving. I don't like traveling.
Um yeah, I just don't like planes in general, but
Yeah,
I find like I will say I find large groups of people like slightly intimidating,
yeah,
and maybe it's more like the sound for me because I maybe I'm short, and so there's a big old group of people.
yeah.
Like I almost got trampled Black Friday at Circuit City once upon a time. Literally, I'm
Yeah.
going in, and we're going in through the door, so everybody pushes together and they squeeze,
Yeah.
and I got lifted up off my feet,
Oh my
carried through the
God.
door, and then fell on my face. Thankfully, nobody trampled me,
That's
but
crazy. Black Friday. What utter insanity.
this is like all the back to the day when we were
Yeah.
like buying DVDs, and
Yeah,
it's not
man.
even Blu-ray DVDs,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's
So,
funny when we say back in the day it's about DVDs, but when like parents say back in the day.
well, yeah, but you also got to think that thing where you're going like, back in the 90s, you were just like,
Yeah.
man, the 60s was so long ago, and now you look back and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
90s, the 60s.
Yeah. 90s is the new
Oh
60s.
gosh, yeah, I feel old.
It's
But
all
yeah,
right. I mean, age is a blessing.
mm-hmm, and a curse. I'm
No,
kidding.
it's just I feel like it's just a blessing.
Just let my body have not the aches it does now. Just
Yeah.
go back a few years to.
There's stuff that you could do about the aches.
It's true, but I mean over time. Anyways, what about so we got places,
Yeah.
people like I find certain like dating aspects intimidating.
Yeah.
What about like tasks or events? You said Disney like an event slash a
Yeah.
place. I would think that would be kind of like a both.
I don't know. So, oh wait, no, I have the perfect example. Sean, you know what intimidates me?
What?
Table saws.
Yeah, I could say I mean
Or maybe I'll even say terrify.
I mean yeah, they could I mean they could rip your arm
They're
off if you're
scary,
not
man.
like
Even when, so I've like read the safety documentation, I've read through the manual. My
mhm.
dad taught me this thing back in the day. You get a new tool, read the manual.
Probably a good idea,
And so I
especially
still do it,
with a power tool.
especially with the power tool. And so like I've read the documentation, I've looked at the safety videos, and even
Mhm.
when I'm using it, I'm just like, ah,
You
ah.
watch those videos of the fail and you see like the wood like
Yeah.
shoot out and
Yeah,
you're just
man,
like
and I've seen MythBusters and like all these different shows and like people test saws with the analog things for humans and seeing
mhm.
what it does to you.
And you're just like
And I'm like,
I don't need to have
maybe I
my
don't need
arm.
power tools. It's like
Yeah.
that and chainsaws. I did a fair amount of chainsawing like 2 years ago, maybe two
Mhm.
summers ago. And man, there was this moment when I had to put the chainsaw down because I was like feeling anxious. I just like my heart was hammering. I don't know if it was a hot day. And I was
Mhm.
wearing so much protective gear. I had everything like the bib, the like the mask, gloves,
Mhm.
everything, and it was like hot and working with tools that I know that can like instantly maim me.
Yeah, that's
It's a little intimidating.
so does it keep you from doing things you
Oh,
want?
absolutely. I'm like, I don't need to touch that table saw.
You're just like
Who even needs table saws?
I have this great idea, this table, and I get this done. You're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I could do that by hand.
Exactly.
It'll take 4 hours longer,
Yeah.
but I could do it by hand.
No, but I have been thinking about like what's the worth of a furniture piece. To me, I would find more value with the handcrafted thing than the power tool thing. And I do think that culture, society in general, is moving too deeply into power technology stuff, and you you can easily make a table without a table saw, or
Hmm.
without a miter saw, or a sawzall, or any of these
Well, I mean,
automatic hack devices.
I wouldn't say, oh yeah, easily, but not like it would be difficult work, but you could do it. It's not
It's doable.
comp. Well,
And once you get used to it, I feel like it may even be as so maybe I'd have to make like a lot of tables before I'm good at it to the point to where I'm just like
yeah, just
really good
churning out.
at planing. So
Hmm.
planing, getting your stock square and stuff like that. Sure, but I feel like it's worth it. And something that I've been thinking about recently is like, what do I want to do with my life?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Um,
we're approaching that what mid age crisis level right
yeah,
here.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
almost there.
And it's like I love making stuff, but I don't
Hmm.
like it when I cut corners. And I like it when I do stuff by hand.
Hmm.
I get the most pleasure from making things that way. So
That's good.
you saw the list I made earlier that maybe in the
Hmm.
background probably can't see it
Yeah.
because it's out of focus. But one of the things on there's too many tools. And so I guess like two birds with one stone. Get rid of the tools.
Hmm.
Use the hand tools I already have. But I've decided to do it sequentially. I'm going to make a table
Hmm.
with having the power tools still
Hmm.
and see what that's like before I get rid of them
Well, yeah.
and then see what life is like afterwards. Because I have both. Technically, I have the hand tools now, I think, to do it.
Hmm.
Wow, we're really.
Yeah, really a field. Let's bring it back.
Yeah,
We were doing
reel it in.
intimidation. We were talking about that. So, I think, I mean, I
Yeah,
was thinking there maybe there's more we could have said, but we can always move on to
yeah,
procrastination, which is probably a much richer topic than
yeah.
intimidation.
Procrastination.
Hmm.
I mean, I've loved to do it since high school, maybe even before. There's certain things that I'm willing to procrastinate and certain things that I'm not.
I would always like procrastination is usually generally we feel it as a bad thing. Is it ever not a bad thing?
I think that there's a difference in between scheduling an event for last minute
Mm-hmm.
and waiting until last minute to do it. I think it's a good thing to not uh, excessively do things immediately, right? So you have a
Mm-hmm.
task, you want to do it. Do I do it now? Do I do it
Mm-hmm.
later? Just because you want to do it later doesn't mean that you're procrastinating. Maybe it's a better time.
Mm-hmm.
But if, let's say, you've been wanting to do something for 3 months
Mm-hmm.
and you still haven't done it,
Well, I would think
then I would say, yeah,
planning a
that's
time
bad.
to do something is different than, like, there's a time and a place to do something, and
Yeah.
you're waiting for that time and a place versus, well, the time and the place exist right now, but I'm just like, yeah, well, you know what? There's an article on Kim Kardashian I don't care about, but I'm gonna read it anyways, or something. Whatever
Yeah.
you're doing to
Yeah.
worm out of what you want to or what you've set yourself to do.
There are definitely things that I procrastinate typically, but I've changed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so like historically, I'm a procrastinator.
I think most people are,
Yeah.
to some extent, everybody
But I've been trying
procrastinates.
to get in front of it because it's not only I notice better outcomes when I don't procrastinate, and there's
Mm-hmm.
less anxiety, less angst in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll reference the Disney World trip again.
Mm-hmm.
I packed beforehand. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't wait until the last night or even the morning of to hastily scramble things together. I did it. I started 2 days before,
Mm-hmm.
making sure we had lists, and then I went down the lists. I recycle lists a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so I have my generic packing list that I'll just like go through. I'm forever forgetting a belt. So that's like number one on my
Put
list.
string in there. You just tie it
Right.
up.
I'll just sew string into my pants. I'll have it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so I've been doing better. But like sometimes you procrastinate the little things. Sometimes you procrastinate the big things. It's like
True.
sometimes people wait to do taxes until the 13th or the 14th or the 15th.
And The Simpsons. Oh, like, oh, how many kids do we have?
Yeah.
12? Yeah, I didn't hear it. It's not illegal. It's just like, yeah, throw it.
Yeah.
And then they get audited. I don't remember that episode that well. But
But
yeah.
that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing us back. Is it good or is it bad?
I mean, I think as a culture we see it as bad because you're procrastinating, means putting off a task, you know, for whatever reason.
Yeah. So like procrastinating global warming action.
Putting that off is I mean, and I don't know if it's procrastination more as, like people just want to keep polluting,
Yeah,
as
people just want to keep doing what they want to do.
capitalism keeps capitalizing.
Yeah. But so, I mean, the
Capitalism?
American people, are
Mhm.
procrastinating doing the right things. We could completely cut back on all of the product bullshit that we don't need, that we buy, because
Mhm.
reasons. We are always
Well,
forever justifying, oh, I need this for that.
mhm. Well,
But
I
there's definitely a certain amount that we can cut back on that we don't.
I think that is a larger issue because there's social, political, all kinds of issues that go into why we haven't done that, and that's a lot of
But
people
you
with
could,
power avoiding
everyone
us.
has the capacity of changing it right now,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, but some
But
people have bigger impacts than others when it comes to that, and some
yeah,
people, have
like
private
the plastic
planes.
industry.
I mean, yeah, we can you individually you can say I'm gonna use less plastic, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, unless you get industries to change, people are at large are
I
still
don't know.
gonna
That's like
use it.
that's segues into a good question of change and where it happens on
Mm-hmm.
the bottom layer or the top layer. And I think it's a little of both. It's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
that top layer makes the change all and then it all cascades down.
I think it's just the system you have set up that makes it hard. Everybody lives within a system, and
Yeah.
if you go against that system, our system is fossil fuels, plastic, and all that.
Yeah.
And so going against that, you're swimming upstream. So trying to change that is it's so embedded. You'd have to, you know, almost like mandate it like a law. We'd have
I
to,
don't know.
because I mean,
We
businesses
might
are.
have to in the end, but it's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean,
we're just so stuck in our ways that we're not changing.
yeah. I mean,
Because the industry will fall apart if we stop buying the stuff.
yeah, but you get into that thing where, game theory. How can you get so many parties to agree to a thing that can you get enough people to agree to a thing that it'll have the effect you want?
Hmm.
And that's the problem. You get 100,000 people do it. Well, doesn't really matter. There's
Yeah.
300 odd million people in this country,
Yeah.
so you got to be able to,
Actually, that's where the policy comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to say, stop being a jackass.
Yeah.
Do it the right way.
I'm not thinking it's so much a procrastination issue as it's just the way power is structured and
Maybe.
in how things are incentivized.
Yeah.
They want to make more money, and polluting is easier way to make money.
Polluting is a process of the selling.
Yeah,
They
and
make
if
money on the
you
selling, they sell the thing,
and
and
if you
then
change the laws to make it harder to sell things that way, then a business would
Yeah.
adjust. But business is
boom,
always going to
plastic tax.
possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, businesses always adjust to
Yeah.
whatever's cheapest, and polluting's the cheapest. If you
Yeah.
make it not the cheapest, then businesses are going to business. They always
what
try
they
to
do.
make more money. So and that's the way to make. So you have to change the equation. That's kind of how I look at it. You change the equation, you'll change the outcome.
True.
So yeah,
It is kind of parameter based to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like procrastination in general. That's a whole societal problem, but maybe like on an individual level. Like, is there something that happened in your life that you could have avoided, or that happened because you procrastinated too much? Like, you're saying with the taxes, did you get audited one year because
No.
you didn't turn in your taxes on time?
No, but I could. Let's see. Has there been any major impacts to the lack of procrastinating? I think I'm generally okay sneaking by without major issues. So I would procrastinate a paper, but I would still do the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And
But maybe like it rippled out into other areas and it stressed you out more because you waited until the night before to write the paper, so you were exhausted that full day, and maybe
yeah, definitely.
so not like major, but maybe ripple effects.
Yeah,
Like you would have
there's some
been.
ripple effects for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to not procrastinate in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have an action, just do it so you can stop thinking about it and move on with your life, so it doesn't come back as a subconscious thought.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, the mental cost of procrastination. You do it now, you don't think about it later.
Think about it, yeah.
You don't do it for 3 weeks. You think about it every day for those 3 weeks until you do it the night before, stress out, stay up all night, and then you go to sleep at noon the next day, and you're just like, why did I do that to myself when I could have done that 3 weeks ago? And then, not been thinking about it, wasting all that,
I think as grown-ups, or as we mature, we recognize the things that we need to do versus the things that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like procrastinating things that you need to do, not advisable.
Mm-hmm.
Procrastinating things that you want to do, fairly acceptable. Because, it's like made up anyway. You want to do it. It's for your pleasure. So it's at your leisure, in my opinion. But the things that you need to do, you shouldn't wait. You should just do them. Or you should schedule a time and figure that out. So, like the big things, like, unfortunately, taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Well,
There are just
yeah.
some of those major milestone things that we shouldn't delay. But like, so I can easily procrastinate making a new table
Mm-hmm.
because it's something I want. I don't need a new table. And so procrastinating it saves me the material cost.
Yeah, but then it's also you also get that thing where you're just like, 6 months later, I haven't made my table yet.
Well, I haven't finished my design. I
I
guess I
have.
haven't started, so because I'm procrastinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's like my table, the one I've been making for what 4 years now.
Yeah.
It's just still sitting in my garage, and the
Yeah.
TV's in it, and the top's on it, and I
Yeah,
gotta,
yeah.
every once in a while I'll think about, I should probably finish that, and then
Yeah.
every time I think about it, I'm like, I
Ugh.
feel like a bigger asshole because it's another day gone by that I haven't done what I've
Yeah.
set out to do.
Just throw it away, man. Move on.
Mm-mm, can't.
No.
It's sunk too much. It's sunk cost fallacy right there. That I sunk
Yeah.
too much effort and I can't walk
Yeah.
away.
Some projects I just gotta walk away from. Like I
No, that
had
makes sense.
at some point you gotta make that call.
Mm-hmm. Well, this I mean now I have. Hopefully this summer I'll have some time, but I was just massively underestimated my ability to get things done this year
Yeah.
with my health being the way it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was just like, I go home, I go to sleep. I have no time for like anything outside of work
Yeah.
almost during the week sometimes.
That's rough, man.
Yeah. Like I can't imagine like you. You got
Well,
work and then after that you got like another full-time job with
yeah.
kids. And
Yeah.
then you're like on later at night playing video games and here I am I'm like
But it's different though.
mhm.
I'm sure it's a different type of tired. I am tired at times.
Mhm.
There are things that we can do to make sure that we're sleeping well, and getting the
Mhm.
rest that we can when we can. For me, I get interrupted all the time. I don't sleep continuously. I haven't slept through the night. I don't remember the last time I slept through the night.
Yeah.
It's
Usually
been months.
when I sleep through the night it's when I don't sleep through the night it's nightmares.
Yeah.
So, yeah, been having a lot of those lately. It's not been great.
Oh man.
And they've been varied lately.
Really?
Yeah, it's not my standard, oh, my kidney's going to fit, but obviously that as well.
Yeah.
But, like, it has something to do with my job. Like, I'm getting fired for who
Oh,
knows
man.
whatever reason. There's, there was one of my friends was, like, just dropping me because I did something I can't remember. And because, you kind of remember a dream, but, like, you know it, like, right when you're waking up. And then, like, 10 seconds
You
later,
lose
you're
it.
just like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't
one of the
remember
reasons is to
any.
keep a dream journal. Sometimes I'll do it on my phone because like my phone's right there. I'll just grab it, write it down. Because I have some weird dreams, and I want to remember them later. Because it's like that was ridiculous.
I hate it. I love my weird dreams because they're usually more fun.
Yeah.
Whereas my nightmares are usually really pedestrian and
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
They're not like, I'm fighting aliens and then I'm
Yeah.
getting eaten alive. It's like, no, I got fired from my job or,
You want to
my
hear
kidneys
my
been...
most terrifying nightmare, which isn't combat related?
Okay.
When I was in high school, I had a dream that I was in my high school house,
Mm-hmm.
walking through my first floor, and the power cut off, and a masked person grabbed me from behind the back with two scythes, cut off my head. And then I woke up, and the power in my house turned off.
Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. I hate that. I have, like, I want to say ripple dreams where you have something
Yeah,
where you're, like, scared and then you, like, wake up just enough to realize you were asleep,
yeah,
but then you, not enough to, like, be awake, so you got kind of go back to sleep,
Yeah.
and then it happens again.
yeah,
And then you kind of, and it's
Yeah,
like
it's
5
like-
times in a row.
yeah,
And you wake up the next day, I'm like, why don't I feel rested? I'm like,
yeah.
oh yeah, it was like the last hour and a half was just a
Weird
series of
twilight.
weird,
Yeah.
like nightmares. Oh wow, yeah. No, so in real life you woke up and the power went out when you had the nightmare?
Yeah, so in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
the power had cut out, and then I was murdered.
Yeah.
And then I woke up,
Decaffeinated.
and then the power turned off.
Mm.
And I was on the second floor, and I was like, I'm not checking the breaker. Nope.
Put a chair up
Yeah.
against the door, get a bat. You're just like,
Yeah.
not going to
It's
sleep
like,
tonight.
under the covers, fuck this. Yeah.
The power goes on like an
Hopefully
hour
I don't
later.
die. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what my non-kidney failure related nightmare worst one would be, but it's probably something to do with somebody I care about, like being, like just leaving me for whatever reason.
Oh.
Yeah, because that one will happen and randomly for different people occasionally.
Yeah.
And it's always like something stupid. I'm like, oh, did I upset somebody? No, it's probably just in your head because you're overthinking things.
Could be.
Yeah, so
All right, procrastination. Are we going to wrap that one up?
yeah, I think we can wrap that one up. And you
So
said you
let's
had
see,
a
we
third one?
experience it. Let's see, what can we do to avoid it? We haven't really been talking about. So it's like we have the way that we interact it, or the way that it touches us, the way it makes us feel. I don't think we talked about how we feel about procrastinating. I'm personally okay with my amount of procrastination.
I am personally not okay with my amount of procrastination.
Step it up.
I mean, that would be the immediate answer. Is
Yeah.
like, yeah, just do it, bro.
Do it.
But
Do it.
do it. Do it.
Just put
Do
stuff
it.
on the calendar. For me, something that really helps is to schedule. Like, and I'll even schedule personal stuff. Like, because for me, it's like I'll be doing something and I'll forget about it, and then I'll be tired, and then I'll have that thought, and I'll be like, oh, should I do it now? And I'll be like, no, I'm going to bed. I don't care. And so if I give myself a reminder, I'll then at that time some days I won't do it, and that's okay. I'll get it and I'll be like, no, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. But
I'm gonna do this tomorrow.
yeah,
I'm gonna do this tomorrow.
you just can't keep doing
52
that.
days later.
You gotta commit at some point and just
Yeah,
do it.
it's definitely fun. You know, you have to break that cycle.
You gotta break the cycle, and also I think not shooting for perfection matters.
Oh, for sure.
Like accepting imperfect outcomes. Like I feel like I'm always talking about it. Don't feel like you have to. Don't do the perfect thing. Do an okay thing.
Yeah, don't
Right.
do something. You know, don't wait to do something perfect. Do something imperfect right now.
Yeah. As long as it's like,
Because sooner or later, you know, you'll have done 100 things versus that one perfect thing that you
yeah,
kind of started.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's definitely
There's-
perfection is definitely a foundation for a lot of procrastination.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said about making that perfectly crafted thing, but
That's like after you've practiced and done it.
yeah, practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect perfection on your first, or your first 10 times you do something. Maybe not even then, because I feel like I've been cooking curry for I don't know how long, and I don't think I've made the perfect curry. I've made good curry, but I don't get
Well,
help on it.
it's true. All right. Well, yeah. So you're saying alarms or lists, maybe
Make
deadlines.
lists, deadlines. I'm huge into both. I project plan myself sometimes, where like I do, because I'm an outcome driven person at work, and then I've brought that into my personal life. Like I
So
know I
maybe,
need
like-
an outcome, and I reverse engineer everything off that outcome.
Or maybe like a planned reward system, like, you know, not letting yourself get that video game.
No, I don't
or-
touch that. I don't worry about rewards, any of that stuff. Maybe that would help you.
It's true.
That's not what.
That's not your motivation.
To me, completing the thing is such a reward that I don't need to additionally incentivize it.
But I'm like saying, it's almost like barring the procrastination. Like saying you
You
can't.
can hack yourself and do that. Say
That's what I'm more like saying. Like saying deny yourself the procrastination, and you can still do it after. Procrastinate after you finished.
Wow. Yeah, I see what you did there.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, okay, you can't just sit and
Yeah.
watch these movies or something until you do this. So
I
you're
don't
not
know. I'm a
doing the
big fan of
procrastinating.
balance, and like I'm not into denial. Probably. I don't know why. It's just like
That's just the way you look at
it's
the
just the
world. There's
way.
nothing wrong with it. It's
Yeah.
just the way you look at it.
Maybe I incentivized myself for certain things in the past. Probably. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't these days because I spoil myself.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So it's like I don't need to additionally spoil myself
Well,
because
that's
I've
what
done
I'm
something.
almost talking about. Instead of rewarding yourself, maybe you think of the denial, like the procrastination, denying yourself that procrastination and allowing you to have it after the fact as a reward. So you're not
I
like,
think that's a different level of maturity than simply doing the thing is.
mm-hmm,
I like that idea. Like, let's say I instituted a video game ban
mm-hmm.
until I read my book. I've been meaning to finish this
Yeah,
book.
so not necessarily. Maybe I was saying reward, but you're saying like, okay, this is something I'm doing. I can still have this, but I need to do this first.
Yeah. I'm just kind of changing it up. Like, I'm like, my reward system is more for activities I like
Mm-hmm.
versus things that I would buy, or I don't know. I'm just saying
Oh,
like,
I'm not talking about things you can buy. I'm talking like, there's
or
I
just
have
like watching movies, or
all kinds of ideas that I have that I want to accomplish, but instead I'm just sitting there, playing Assassin's Creed or
yeah.
watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine or
It's about balance, I
mm-hmm.
think. And when you get to if you make yourself a calendar,
Mm-hmm.
you can allocate time for things that you enjoy, leisure time. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that if you retro your calendar, and I'm just saying, look back at your past week, write out all your things that you did. I'm very visual. I like to
Mm-hmm.
color code stuff, so like make all your leisure time green or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
red, whatever colors you're into, and then just look at how much time was spent to that category. And
Mm-hmm.
then add in your virtual events, your other things that you want to do, like time for cooking,
Mm-hmm.
time for working out, time for cleaning, time for projects. And then if you have multiple projects, you can get crazy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can craft yourself a calendar
Mm-hmm.
and then go through it that way. So it's like, don't spend all your time with leisure when you want to do things, because then
Mm-hmm.
you'll be upset that you didn't do the things.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't have to only do things, because I do find that when I'm constantly doing things all the time, I like everyone burns out to a certain degree. They need to recharge in their own ways.
Well, I find when I've been in those cycles in my life where I constantly do things, it's more of a momentum for me.
Yeah,
Like once I start, I keep going.
absolutely, for sure.
And like when we first met, I was going to school, I was working, I was taking dance lessons, I was doing. I mean, I'd get up at 8 in the morning, and I would, be up till 1 a.m.
Yeah,
and my day would be fairly packed. I mean, I wouldn't
yeah,
say I was scheduled, but I had things that I was doing at like, I go to school, I tutor, then I come back and I do some homework, and then I would go to dance, and then I would come back and I play 2 or 3 hours of like Gears of War, and then
yeah.
I'd play like
Gears of War, I remember those days.
oh, and I'd also schedule like an hour for a run every day, and I'd also do like 40 minutes of DDR at night.
Yeah,
And I did
it's a
all of
lot.
that like day in and day out, and it didn't feel like a lot.
Yeah,
Whereas like right now, you know, even the slightest thing feels like a lot for
yeah.
me.
I think for you, it's like keep things short, and so do it in bursts or small, iterations. 15 minutes,
Yeah,
5 minutes.
don't commit to the vision, commit to the task.
Yeah, task it out. That's another thing that I do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll chart out your milestones, and then break
Maybe
down
that
your milestones.
maybe that's the intimidation I'm thinking about. The ideas. I get so intimidated by big ideas.
Oh yeah. I'm constantly reeling myself in away from the crazy. Because early
Mhm.
on, I had these really big ideas.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've been like, I get so excited about it, and then here I
Mhm.
am reinventing the internet or something like that. Or I had, it's like maybe I'll make an organic computer
Mhm.
or get into, some crazy awesome project that's just not feasible to execute on my
Mhm.
like layer of existence right now.
Mhm.
So like keep it, um, like make it possible, and then just break it down. Do small little bits. Like for you for finishing your table. I'm sure there are milestones that you can break down into pieces. And for me, man, as soon as you have things broken down into pieces,
It becomes a lot easier. Yeah, I know that I knew when I used to run for an hour a day, and I was, I'd be running like 3.5 miles or something like that,
yeah,
which for me, was a lot. And
for most people that's a lot.
yeah, and I would always just be like, okay, I'm running for this block, then I'm running for the next block,
Yeah,
then I'm running for this block,
yeah.
and I wouldn't think about the fact that there's 2 miles in front of
Oh
me.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
just think about that block, and I would think about the next block, and that was the only way I could do it.
yeah,
Because now I think about it and I look back at myself, I'm like, how the hell did I do that?
yeah,
I'm like, I am not a runner. I suck at it, but I somehow managed to do it.
yeah,
So yeah, it's definitely I think there's an intimidation factor there. There's the
yeah.
anxiety factor.
So yeah, but things that you can do, like we were saying, to wrap it up,
Hmm.
plan more, break it down.
I think break it down would probably be for me. Probably the biggest
Yeah,
idea is just to small chunk the shit out of it.
yeah. Have realistic expectations.
That's hard for me. Like in life, in everything I do, I
Yeah,
don't understand what is realistic expectations for myself
huh.
because I expect unreasonable things from my body. I expect unreasonable things from my brain,
Hmm. Do you
and
find that
until
your outcomes don't meet your expectations?
um
And how does that make you feel?
well, usually it's just I don't start. Like once I start, like I get a better sense of what I'm capable of, but also at the same time, I just I'm not a I'm not good with boundaries. Like I
Hmm.
don't know when I'm exercising, you know, people know like this is I'm going to go to this point and no further. I'm like I can challenge myself. I'm like when do I stop? I'm like do I
Oh, and
go?
you bring
And then I
that
just
drive into your ideation, and
I
your
do that
ideation
into everything
gets
I
so
do.
grandiose or so large in scale that it becomes intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything I
Yeah,
do. I just don't. What's reasonable to me
yeah.
doesn't. Because until I can't do it, I don't know that it's unreasonable. That's kind of how my brain works. And like,
Sometimes sharing your ideas with others helps point out the unreasonable things, which is why it's important for us to talk about projects.
true.
But I like your desire to do strange things, and to just push the boundaries, like Project Bed Canopy, Project Table TV,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
cool
Oh,
projects.
I found the canopy, the white sheet finally.
Yeah.
My mom was cleaning out the back room and she's like, "Oh, here, have it." I'm like, "Yes." So now all I have to do is like sew a few things together, and it
Yeah.
could theoretically be done by like Sunday. So that's
Task it out, bro.
task it out. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll task it
Yeah.
out. I'll check. I'll give you updates. Like,
Nice.
on
Yeah.
Sunday, I'm like, dude,
I'll
I
hold
woke
you
up.
accountable.
There you go. All right. Well, I mean, you know what? We could probably
Wrap it there.
visit. Yeah. Let's see how much time we're at. We're
Where are we
at.
at?
We could do about like maybe another little 5-10 minutes
Sure.
on something.
Yeah.
Anything you want to
Do
talk
something
about?
bite-sizable. Um,
Anything lately that's been like difficult for you?
um, I've been. I feel like in spring, I get super antsy because I've been
Cooped up all winter.
cooped up. I went for my first few runs. I loved getting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like my knees are feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but something that spring also brings on is I like to clean and rearrange. I've been doing a ton of it.
I was like, I hadn't noticed. The last couple of times I've read it.
Liar. Yeah, I'm forever doing it.
Mentiroso.
Um, and like something that I struggle with is um, like acquiring things and holding on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I don't necessarily use. I feel like I realize I'm an acquirer. I'm a purchaser
Mm-hmm.
for things that I think that I might do or that I'm trying to get into, and sometimes I don't get into them, and then I hold on to the things forever, and then I get upset, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like
That you have the things
that
and
I
you're like,
have
why
the
am I
thing and I never
using?
did the project to
Yeah.
coincide with the thing, and I'm like, okay, that upsets me, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And so it's procrastination. Yeah, I know. It's just creeping back into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been reanalyzing my life
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about the things that I want to do. I've been scaling back on my arts,
Mm-hmm.
scaling back on my hobbies. I'm trying to like, because I have too much stuff, man. Um, I have too many tools.
I
I have too
mean,
many toys, and it's like a good problem to have. But I enjoy open spaces.
well,
I think that it's
open space, open mind.
open space, open mind.
Clear, yeah, non-cluttered. Because I like my space is now clean, and it hasn't been clean in months.
Yeah,
And maybe that's why, like, I was more tired because
yeah.
my space was
Doesn't it just
chaotic.
feel good when you have a clean space?
You can go anywhere. You're not like confined by the
Yeah,
junk around you.
yeah. I
It's
feel like
definitely a mental health thing where you're just like everything's.
I have too much stuff, and I feel I can't be creative when I have all this cleaning that I want to do. And I want to be creative and do cool projects, but I'm like, should I really be doing that when I have all this trash, or when I have all of these organizational initiatives that I've been trying to
Mm-hmm.
complete? Like, no, I got to clean my house before I do anything else. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is like,
What is that procrastination? Are you procrastinating because you're like intimidated by your projects that you set
because
out
I
for
don't
your.
want to use my goddamn table saw.
Exactly. You're intimidated by your table saw. So the whole you
No,
don't actually you hate cleaning. You've just been doing it is to avoid your table saw.
I like cleaning.
Oh.
Well, no, I like the outcome of cleaning. I enjoy cleaning sometimes.
I
I
mean
am going to get
certain
rid of my table saw. Because it terrifies me, and I don't have to conquer that fear. I think it's okay for me not to have it. And then I have friends that have it. And I have friends that I'll be like, hey, will you cut this board for me? I'm sure that they will.
mm-hmm.
And
Or you
so I
just
can,
go
like,
to Home Depot and like here, you can
yeah,
buy the wood. You cut it.
I'm done with Home Depot, man.
Home
Like,
Depot, yeah.
the Depot, they're not getting my
Yeah.
money for project lumber anymore. I'd rather get it from local. There's this spot called the Owl in like Des Plaines, or I forget whatever west suburb it is,
Mm-hmm.
but they get great wood, um, and they can do some milling there for me. They can bring it to size. They'll plane
Mm-hmm.
it, and then I can just like do the cuts by hand, and then I'll be fine.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I've been working on that. That's what I've been focusing on these days. Um, because I have too much stuff, and my kids have too much stuff. And I can't. I don't even like getting gifts anymore because like a certain part of me does, but like
Well, I mean, it
it's
depends.
like great. I now have to organize this. Thank you.
I think it depends on the gift. And then there's like my parents are like, "What can we get you for Christmas?" I'm like,
Nothing.
"Nah."
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't.
Just like I'm into experience. I love
Mm-hmm.
experiences. I'll go anywhere. Oh, not anywhere. I like going places and
Mm-hmm.
like doing activities with people.
For sure. That's definitely. This is better than like me just throwing a T-shirt at you or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Because this is something we're doing. I think it's something we're creating versus
yeah,
just an object where you're
yeah.
just like, oh, yeah.
I gotta take the fidget toys away from you when we do this stuff, because says you're either fidgeting with this or you're fidgeting with that. You're fidgety.
Yes, I am.
That's okay.
I have a lot of nervous energy.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, I think that's when you're talking about issues that make you anxious. That's how it comes out.
Yeah.
You can, some people get more amped up. Some people just get quiet. I get a little bit
You get fidgety.
fidgety.
That's okay.
So yeah, it's like you see me on my phone. I'm usually just doing that because I'm anxious or because
okay.
I might be tired or not all the time. I mean, sometimes I just want to say hi to people where I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
So it's not every day. It's not like I come here and I'm on my phone and it's like, well, he's anxious again. I'm like, no, that's not necessarily true. I'm like everybody else. Sometimes it's just like a good scroll.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another.
Sometimes I like a good scroll.
Mm-hmm.
What a modern saying that is.
I know it sounds. But I like a good scroll. Here we go.
Right? Yeah.
Wow, this one's amazing.
Wow.
I only need like 7 of them to finish the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's something that you've been working on recently? Tell me. So maybe we can catch up on challenges. How has your cooking been? The month is for sure over.
Oh, for sure. No. I haven't really done the vegetables in a while. Although I have cooked a pizza or two at home instead of like got it out. So I think that's.
Did you make the pizza?
I mean, I got the cheese and the sauce and the bread, and I put it together. I didn't just go to like get one of the frozen pizzas and throw it in there.
What type of bread?
Usually boboli crust. Sometimes I was thinking about getting sometimes like Pillsbury dough and just using that as a crust. Something quick. But usually Bobli's because they're right there in Jewel, and I can just pick them up, throw on the sauce, throw on the cheese.
Heck yeah, man.
Throw it in the oven. But yeah, no, this I'm glad spring is finally in.
Spring is upon us.
Yeah. Because my anxiety peaks around March.
Oh, so you're on the tail end.
Yeah. So usually it starts getting bad in January.
Do you know why that is?
I don't know if I've thought about it. My vitamin D's been pretty decent this time. Well, I mean,
pretty decent.
For me, yes, for decent.
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm a child.
Puns are beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been decent for me, so I don't think it's been good for me. So I don't think it's vitamin D, and maybe it's just there's just the sunlight in general.
Sunlight in general, like being cooped up, not being able to go outside.
Just the cold, wet, just the cold or the dreariness.
Winter sucks.
Yeah, or you're not out. Yeah, maybe it's that you feel confined to a house versus even if you're staying inside during the summer, you can go outside. Things feel more open in the summer and instead of the winter when there's just like super cold. So I don't know why that is. Maybe it's also a thing to do with my health that I've had multiple health issues punch me in the dick around March. Like last year when my kidney issues really kicked in, that was the end of March. When I started on hemodialysis back in the day, that was in March.
March isn't your month.
No, it really isn't. There's a lot of I don't know. I've gotten violently sick in March at least like 4 or 5 times, like to the point where my kidney function like dipped 20%.
Well,
and I mean it came right back after I got not sick, but it it was so bad that my body's actually saying So maybe I just associate March with bad stuff in my mind because a lot of bad stuff has happened in that month.
Yeah.
But it could also be the sunlight, the being cooped up inside.
You're on the tail end of it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's good, but it's also still like it's probably conditioned my mind because now I'm having a hard time having those realistic expectations of when I'm interacting with people. Like I don't know when I kind of don't have that sense when I'm upsetting people
Hmm.
or
Really?
if I'm upsetting people. Like I don't know. I think I am,
You think that you're upsetting people?
and I'm clearly they just clearly don't give a crap.
Yeah.
And so I
Hmm.
am having a hard sense with that, and I wonder if that's maybe an after effect of the rough winter I had,
Could be.
or I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's been bad the last couple of weeks. Like I think I'm getting on everybody's nerves for no damn reason.
Just so you know, you've been really annoying.
I figured, and
Yeah.
that's why I've been putting this off
How
for the
dare
last
you?
month and a
I
half.
can't believe you just constantly bother me.
I know.
Yeah.
Coming
No, you
over
haven't.
here
You
having
haven't bothered me
fun.
at all.
That's good.
Uh,
Because I did think that like every time I come here, I'm like, oh, I'm taking up his time, man.
no, okay.
I
Okay.
don't think I don't know if he actually has time to be doing this thing because you got so much else going on,
There's
and I don't want to be pushy about that because
there's
let's
enough
face it.
time. I think it is a challenge, but that's okay.
Well, like just
Yeah.
face it, that's more important. I
Thank
understand
you.
that, and I
Thank
never
you.
want to say
Appreciated.
otherwise
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it is. But this could be
Yeah.
important too for us going forward, and hopefully we can get more people to interact.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe
Yeah.
polls or
I
quizzes
I
or
am
just some
interested in us finding a way to edit the material and get it more
streamlined
consumable, streamlined.
mm-hmm.
Um, because I mean, I regularly consume
podcasts.
podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the ones that I finish are
Yeah.
the shorter ones.
Okay. Well, let's
Some
see
people
here.
drop 3 hour long podcasts.
Oh,
So
I'm saying we're clocking in right around
an
an
hour.
hour, and I think that's a good goal to shoot for.
I think a better goal is 20 minutes. That's me. I
Maybe
like
we'll meet in the middle and go like television show
30,
length 42 minutes
42
because that's
with
like
commercials.
with commercials that's an hour long show and that's like halfway in between like 45 minutes you do
So I
15
mean,
minutes of
we
segment.
could. We don't.
I mean it's something we can
We
think
could
about.
do multiple things. Yeah, we could do multiple modes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm just interested in providing this material in a more consumable format than the entire podcast. So I don't know if we
Well,
just
you
need more
can
shorts with specific moments.
well you can also break it up into because we have like three discussion topics.
Yeah,
Technically you could do 20 minutes each, keep it at an hour,
yeah,
but also have it so you can listen to each individual thing on its own if you want,
yeah.
and you can also have it all
We could do it
together.
that way. It's a heavier editing burden
It
that way.
is, but I mean it also accomplishes
The goal.
yeah,
Yeah,
you get your shorter episodes or your shorter length, and this gets to be for those other people who really want the whole
yeah.
conversation
True. Yeah,
and
no,
all bits
absolutely.
of
We could
it
do multiple releases
because
because there is value with the whole podcast. Like I see it from both sides, right?
mm-hmm.
But then it's like there's
Or like
maybe informative things that we discuss which give listeners guidance.
mm-hmm.
Maybe we could extract the guidance and have you know,
Well, yeah,
a brief. Here are the things we talked about. Here are our guidance things. So then we're giving them that
more
learning
like
information or
bullet
guiding
points.
information versus somebody needing to weather the entire experience to have the benefits of this process.
Okay. No, yeah, I that's definitely
So something we can work towards.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we can call it. Say we did it. It's about an hour.
All right.
All right.
What a way to wrap.
What a way to wrap.
I guess we could call it.
I guess we can all go to sleep.
Boom, sucker. Done.
All right.
Thank you for
Thanks
listening.
for listening. We hope to put out a little bit more frequently,
We'll
regularly.
see.
Well, not frequently, but
How
more
time
on
allows.
a schedule.
Yeah, we want to get a cadence, certainly.
Mhm.
And we'll We'll figure out what works for us.
Yeah. So
All right.
thanks for dropping by.